Now, to discuss this further, Elizabeth Laris, president of E. Laris Consulting and professor at University of Mary Washington, joins me live on the broadcast. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining me here on Race to Power. Pleasure speaking with you. Ma'am, can an executive order override constitutional amendments, as is being suggested at this point? Is Trump's order to block birthright citizenship, is it against the 14th Amendment?
An executive order cannot override the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Constitution is the law of the land. What Trump is proposing is actually a reinterpretation, going back honestly to the original intent of the 14th Amendment. As you indicated, it was passed to give a citizenship as whole persons to former slaves who were freed after the U.S. Civil War. They were only counted as 3/5 of a person for apportionment of representation in the U.S. House of Representatives. So the idea was they needed to be counted as fully persons, not as 3/5 of a person. There's an extremely important clause in the 14th Amendment. It is the subject to the jurisdiction clause, which means that is interpreted as you are here legally and you are obeying the laws of the country. President Trump is taking exception right now to people who are here illegally, who are having children, who are intentionally coming here to have children so they gain citizenship. As a matter of fact, there is an increase in the number of scheduled cesarean sections. That is a planned delivery and birth of a baby before this goes into effect in February, indicating that people really want to make sure that their kids are citizens.
It's definitely causing a lot of harsh decisions being taken at this point. But Elizabeth, I wanted to come to this point next. What the judge said that they could be mulling a preliminary injunction which could be issued by the court. Do you feel that would be enough, or would that be enough to halt this order? And if indeed it is halted by any which way possible, would that be a dent in Trump's his entire paraphernalia regarding his crackdown on immigration so soon into his presidency?
Yeah, it is a temporary injunction. My understanding it is for 14 days only. As you indicated, this goes into effect February 19th, so it doesn't quite get us up to that date. It does apply, this injunction, this temporary restraining order essentially applies to all states, not just the 22 that brought it forward. And what this is doing is moving the ball along toward ultimately probably a decision by the Supreme Court because the injunction will be appealed. It'll work its way up the American appellate court system, possibly to the Supreme Court, where it will be decided if there can be an interpretation of the 14th Amendment to deny birthright status to the children of illegal aliens, or if it will stand as it is understood now, that you just happen to be born here, and then after arriving, you're a citizen.
Elizabeth, I want to now come to the Laken Riley Act. Do you feel it will compromise a legal recourse which would be available to individuals? And can immigrants be deported solely on the basis of accusations without having a single day in court to defend their case?
Sure, and those are two things. Yes, it can compromise their legal avenues. The Laken Riley Act really puts more power into the hands of ICE, that is the immigration authorities, to determine an illegal alien criminal's status. One of the criticisms, of course, the Democratic criticisms, is that the criminals do not have the regular process. They're deprived of the process to go through the courts. In the United States, people are considered innocent until found guilty. This just really indicates the sea change in the view of Americans and Congress's view of illegal immigration. Over the 4 years, we saw quite lax control of illegal immigration, culminating, honestly, in President Trump's election. It was his biggest campaign issue. And even Democrats signed off on the Laken Riley Act because they can see that American citizen sentiment has turned so much against illegal immigration that they're willing to go along with this.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining me on Race to Power. You've shed a lot of light on all the questions that I posed to you. It would bring a lot of clarity to all our viewers. Thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.